Texas is on the verge of enacting one of the most stringent social media regulations in the U.S. with legislation which seeks to prohibit anyone under 18 from creating or maintaining accounts on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. The bill mandates age verification for all users and grants parents the authority to request the deletion of their child's account, requiring platforms to comply within 10 days. The legislation has passed the Texas House with a 116 to 25 vote, and it is currently under consideration in the Senate.
Texas would only be the second state to ban kids of a certain age from social media. Florida is the first state, but Florida banned kids under 14 from social media. This would be anyone under 18, which is pretty significant here. Now, advocates for this argue that it addresses the digital epidemic affecting youth mental health. There have been a number of studies, we discussed them on this podcast, linking social media use along with increased rates of depression, anxiety, self-harm, a whole variety of things affecting both young men and young women. But you do see a lot of civil liberties groups in the tech industry who say that this infringes on the First Amendment rights of young people, raises significant privacy concerns due to the required age verification process. Social media companies do not want to be involved in this. You have heard from folks at Meta and others who say age verification should be dealt with by the App Store, by Apple and Google, or I should say Alphabet, the parent company of Google. So we'll see what happens with all of this, potential legal fights over this. But I mentioned the Florida law. You've also had Nebraska and Connecticut. They've approved bills that would require parental consent for anyone under 18 to open a social media account. So parental consent laws, you're seeing that in more and more states. Georgia, Tennessee, and Louisiana have all passed laws requiring parental consent for anyone under 16 to open an account here. In Minnesota, lawmakers have debated a number of measures around this issue, including a tax on companies that mine data on the state's residents. They've proposed a mental health warning label for social media platforms. This is going to make it increasingly difficult for a TikTok, for Meta, for Snapchat to navigate all these state laws. And, we've been reporting on this podcast about how they're trying to make social media safer from their vantage point for young people, for teens. But all this whole sort of potpourri of laws that now you're seeing state by state, they're going to get to the point where they're like, okay, you know what? We should just make it 18 and above. Right now it's 13 and above to get on social media. So that's something we should definitely watch for.